design that have some staying power in the process, whether that's through the technology or through their design themselves. Now, since this is the most iconic of all time, these watches are going to be probably some familiar faces, but what we're going to be doing in this video is give some of the reasons behind their iconic nature, why it's justified, and go through some of my favorites from this tier of digital watchmaking. So let's kick things off with one of my personal favorites, and it's a simple design, but if you're talking about staying power, this absolutely has to be on here. This is the Hamilton Pulsar, or often known as now the PSR. So the PSR, the Pulsar, was the first mass-produced LED digital watch back in the 1970s. This was introduced in 1972, and Hamilton recently updated the design in the last 5 years. Very simple in its presentation, one single button on the right side of the case, and you're in business, you get that backlight coming in. But what's often not talked about is the fact that this was a watch that was seen as a luxury timepiece back in the 1970s. An 18 karat gold Pulsar back in the 1970s retailed at $2,100. If you adjust for inflation, that is $15,000. So just to put that in other terms, about the same retail price of a Daytona in today's market. Further, Roger Moore wore a Pulsar as well on the wrist as James Bond. The PSR was unveiled again in 2020 underneath the Hamilton branding. You have stainless steel, you have gold, you have black PVD. They also did a unique matrix version with a green backlight. The watch wears pretty well too. You're at a 40.8 millimeter diameter, lug to lug of 46 millimeters, and a thickness of 13.5 millimeters with water resistance of 100 meters. This watch does not have nearly the same amount of features as others on this list, but in terms of my own design and specification that I enjoy, I just love the way that this watch looks. And there's just something I can't put words to. Its simplicity, its retro styling, it looks almost futuristic, but also retro in this combination of looking back to the past. So this watch was probably one of the leading watches that got many people into even mechanical watchmaking back in the 80s and 90s. This is the Timex Ironman Classic. So the Ironman is something you'll find in department stores, you'll find also on the wrists of athletes as well, but it was released in 1984, and it was a development Timex had in working with the Ironman Triathlon event and developing a digital watch, and in the process really boosting sales within the company. This watch has been used by athletes, Navy SEALs, nurses, and anyone needing a capable digital watch. And the Ironman really took off because of this. Its versatility and its ability to be available for well under $50 even to this day. The other contrast with this piece is it wears very well on the wrist. You almost don't feel as if this watch is on your wrist when you're wearing it. It has some scaled down design cues and also features that line up with some of the use cases that we mentioned. You have that oversized digital display, you have a retro 80s look in the process, and a long list of functions with a focus on a chronograph. Since you're talking about a triathlon, still does come with 100 meters of water resistance and gets that Timex Indiglo illumination as well. There are many different flavors of the Ironman. I really do like this Japanese limited quantity piece. It's known as the Ironman 8 Lap. Really neat, retro, and just feels like a vintage electronic device as much as it is a watch. Now let's move along to a watch that also, if you're talking about sales numbers, this is right there with the best of them, if not at the leading front position. This is the Casio F91W. This was a watch introduced in 1989, and since the F91W has achieved multi-million-dollar selling status thanks to its portability, ease of use, reliability, and 7-year battery life. Now it's quoted that this is the best-selling watch, not of the smartwatch variety, ever in the history of watchmaking. People have estimated 120 million units have been sold of the Casio F91W. But this watch is still available under $20. It's almost inflation proof, or at least feels like it. I've been talking about this watch for now almost a decade, and it just has always sat in the same position. That's part of the staying power of its design. But the design itself is also iconic. You have so much available to you in a very small package. You have a range of functions, including a 1/100th of a second stopwatch, day and date indication, 12 and 24-hour timekeeping, a daily alarm, an hour chime that can be toggled on or off. I remember the first time getting one of these.